Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Top Podcast. This is going to be our second episode, and in this one we're going to be covering success and how to develop yourself as a person and how to follow your dream and how to become the best you that is possible. So before we get started, I just want to say if you want to keep up with us on our YouTube, go ahead and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. If you want to know when we're going to post a video next or in the future when we're going live, make sure to follow us on Twitter at OffTheTop7 is our and our handle. And I think our name is just Off the Top Podcast, right?
Yeah.
So, so make sure to go ahead and follow us on that, on all our social media. And let's go and get started. So, hey, Brandon, you want to get us started?
Yeah, so recently we've both been reading this book called Burn Your Goals. It's an amazing book. It's pretty much two guys that started off not knowing what they wanted to do with their life, and they created a business from the ground up. Literally, one of the guys was living in the closet of a gym.
And throughout the book, it shows what kind of challenges these guys had to go through, and the fact that they were so determined to follow their dream, and it shows how even though we can view these people. First off, I just want to give a shout out. Their names are Joshua Medcalf and Jamie Gilbert. They're really awesome people, and we highly recommend that you read this book. But the book really goes into how even though you can look at them and see, oh wow, I would never be able to do something like that. I would never be able to just go out and follow my dream like that. I have too much on my mind. I have too much to do. It shows how anyone can follow their dream and anyone can develop their passion to the fullest extent, as long as you're willing to work.
Yeah, exactly. Just pretty much, it just shows what is actually worthwhile to focus on. It's great. It's literally such a great book.
Yeah, so one of the things that I want to get started off on is in the book, in one of the first chapters, they talk about mission-based goals versus objective-based goals. And obviously the title of the book being Burn Your Goals, they want to go away from having a goal, which so let me start trying to explain this. So typically when you have a goal, let's say right now I have a goal of getting a full ride to a college or getting scholarship money, or I have a goal of playing on a college football team or any professional sports team. That would be an objective based goal, because your goal there is you want to you're pretty much focused on the outcome of that goal. And no matter what you do, even if you work as hard as possible, that's not a guarantee for you. You know, there's always something that can go wrong. There's always something that you shouldn't just be worried about what can go wrong. It's just things don't always pan out like that, no matter how hard you try. So you kind of want to stick with mission-based goals, they say. So an example would be if I'm a high school wrestler and I'm trying to wrestle at the collegiate level, every single day showing up to practice, my goal should not be, oh my God, I want to wrestle for Michigan State. I want to wrestle for Alabama. I want to wrestle for any of these teams. Your goal should be, I want to improve as a person and as a wrestler and as a player, as much as I can, because that's all stuff you can control.
Yeah, it's pretty much just based on what you can control. Like, obviously, you're not going to be able to do everything the exact way that you want it. And that's not really how things happen in life. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is for your best intentions. Like, literally, everything that happens, negative or positive, is to better you as a person.
Yeah, so pretty much, as Brandon was saying, everything in life happens for a reason. And another thing that they touch on in the book is that a belief that you should have is that no matter what a situation is that you should believe and force yourself to believe this, that it was in my best interest. So they start off a chapter, I believe, saying, imagine you're stuck in traffic, or imagine something's going wrong with your life. And instead of sitting there rolling your eyes, getting angry, and they talk about controllables as well, which things that we can control are self-talk, our body language. We can't control our thoughts or feelings, but we can try and redirect them into something positive. But imagine you're sitting in traffic, and instead of getting angry and sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm wasting my time. I'm going to miss this meeting. I'm gonna miss out on whatever you have planned. Imagine what your life would be like if instead of doing that, you just thought, this is in my best interest. This is meant to happen. This is best. This is the best thing that can be happening to me right now.
Everything that you do can better yourself. So if you sit there and just tell yourself, "Oh, this is just a test of my patience," like I can just continue to think positively and progressively. So what you're going to be doing is thinking about your future and how you can better yourself for the future. And it's just a great way of thinking.
Yeah, and another thing that ties into this is so pretty much being in high school or being in college, and some people feel like, what am I doing here? This is a waste of my time. This isn't what I want to do in life. Some people have a bigger dream. So let's say someone has a dream of being a lawyer, or has a dream of being, an entrepreneur, and you think, wow, this algebra class, this calculus class is literally a waste of my time because I'm not going to learn any of this information. I don't need to retain any of this for what I want to do and what I want to become in life. So why am I wasting my time in here? And we know with school, that's not just something you can leave and avoid. So instead of having that negative mindset of I'm wasting my time, you could try and tie it in. So let's say you want to be a businessman and you want to have your own company. So you could say, okay, so this is an hour-long class that's really boring me. Do you think when you're a businessman, you're going to have a little bit more than an hour-long business meetings that you don't want to attend, that you don't want to be part of, and you're not going to be bored the whole time? So think of it as training yourself for that. One big thing that they talk about in the book is train to be clutch. That's kind of their motive or their motto. So, Bernie, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so pretty much what they're saying with that class is use that time to pretty much expand your knowledge. So if it was a math class, you could tie it into the accounting that you might need for your business, or as an entrepreneur in general. You might need that. Or you can honestly take some of that time that you're going to be sitting there and doing nothing that won't help you in any way, and just take it and do something actually productive, like other classwork. Or I really recommend this, reading. Reading is absolutely amazing for your mindset and your knowledge pool. Mm-hmm. It's great.
If you think about it, how many successful people do you know that don't ever read? That's not really a divider between being successful and being not successful. But if you read every single day and expand your knowledge that much, just from reading Burn Your Goals alone, and we're not trying to sell this book or anything. We're just trying to say that this is such a valuable piece of information that if you were to take in, let's say it's going to take 2-3 weeks to read this book. It's not that long. But if you were to read as much as a book every 2 to 3 weeks, think about how much knowledge you'd be gaining, and think about how much you'd be expanding not only your vocabulary, think about how much you're expanding your mind, and how much you're expanding what you can do to follow your dream. If it's books like this, think about how much you're going to learn about following your passion, even discovering your passion, and just think about like how much you're going to develop as a person as well.
So with finding your passion, honestly, what you need to do first is find out who you want to be as a person. So literally, what is your dream? Who do you want other people to see you as? And who do you want to see yourself as? You have to take all of those into account.
Yeah, and even tying back to, train to be clutch, pretty much everything you do in life is training for who you want to be. You know what I mean? People always say that there's sometimes you don't really have a choice, but even not choosing to do something is still a choice. So the choices you make in life are what is going to train you and what's going to shape you into the person that you want to be, So tying back to reading, pretty much reading is an amazing tool, because if you want to become a great basketball player, or if you want to become a great businessman, you need to learn. They have a chapter all about this called Steal Like an Artist. So you need to draw motivation and draw education from people that are already there. So let's say you want to be a good basketball player. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, study how they work and study how hard. See, some people think that they just take it for granted and think that they're that talented, but I will 100% guarantee you that Kevin Durant is in the gym every single day preparing for his dream. You know what I mean? Trying his hardest. So books are a great way so that you can learn and take information and improve yourself from other people that are successful.
Yeah, and also along with training, you need to be watching and learning from other people. So pretty much it can't only be one thing, one outlet. Like reading, you can't just read yourself. You have to also look and search for people that can tell you about their how they got to where they are. Like people that are successful, they can explain to you how they got to where they are and what you can do to find out who you want to be and how you want to live your life from there on out.
Yeah, and even when someone has a dream that they want to follow, being a professional athlete, I already named all the examples, but you might think, oh, there's nothing I can do. You know, that's down the road. You know, I'll figure that out eventually. But that's one of the biggest things that separates successful people and people that follow their dream from people that just end up living life and not doing what they want, is that there's always something you can do. Think about what is the smallest version of your dream that you can accomplish right now. You can take a pen and a notepad and just write down 5 things that you can do right now that you can follow your dream. If you're trying to be a professional athlete, think about, oh, I can be training more. I can be watching film. I can be studying the greats. There's so much you can do right now without all that.
Yeah, and if you're trying to start a business, what you can do right now is start saving your money, pooling it into a different savings account maybe to just generate funds for that specific thing only, and saving your own money in general, like on like things that you spend. Or you can be reading all the time, and you can always be searching for more knowledge through other outlets, through like education or something like that.
Yeah, and you can ration your food so you don't have to eat as much anymore. So cut your portions in half. No, but don't. I was just kidding. But I'm saying, pretty much, yeah. There's so much you can do, and especially nowadays with the internet. Nowadays with the internet, there's such a wide variety of education that you can use. Like YouTube, you can literally. There's so many entrepreneurs. I myself have been interested in starting business courses and stuff. There's so much you can learn nowadays. Just take out a pen and notepad and write down what these people are saying. You can take notes from so many different sources. Now that there's the internet, it's just unbelievable how much there is out there. So yeah, Brandon, you want to take it off, man?
So please don't ever ration your foods. Please do not do that. That was a joke. So I also want to talk about something else, like how we interact with other people. So like pretty much you want to view everybody else as equals and just really try to experience other people's lives as well as yours. So what I mean by that is just...
Here, actually, wait, can I?
Yeah.
So in the book, I'm going to let you continue a second, but in the book they talk about everyone in this world has the same value, and your value is not determined by what you accomplish in life. It doesn't matter how many awards you win or how many national championships you win. Your value is always going to be the same. Every single person in this world, they say it is, you are indefinitely valuable. You're all priceless. Every single person has the same value. So that just kind of takes away from people trying to say that they're better than others because of their accomplishments. So, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just always view the world with the thought that everything matters and everyone matters. So pretty much what that means is that you love others as much as you love yourself. You need to view everything as an opportunity to grow, and you can only do that through others. So you need to view them as valuable as yourself.
Okay, so we're going to cover that topic. So another thing that I want to talk about is something I've learned from a YouTuber, and well, not a YouTuber, but an entrepreneur that also has a YouTube channel named Gary V, which I'm sure some of you have heard of. And they also talk about it in the book, Burn Your Goals, is hitting rock bottom. So a lot of people try and draw motivation from hitting rock bottom, and obviously that is a great motivator for especially people in the book. Obviously, like we said, one of the guys lived in a gym closet, and he said he made the most of that, and that was a huge motivation from him going to homeless shelters, and he lived really probably in the worst of the worst. So he can relate to that, and that obviously was a great motivating factor for him for following his dream. But a big thing is that some people think, oh, I just need to hit rock bottom, and then once I get there, everything's uphill, you know, like literally because you hit rock bottom. But I'm saying people use that as an excuse, which is what Gary Vee says is hitting rock bottom really what you need to start your business or to start following your dream, or is that just an excuse that you're using so you don't have to do anything right now? Like we were talking about how you can do anything. Well, you can't do anything, but I'm saying you can always do something to follow your dream, and you can write down right now. I'm sure people can think of, like Brandon was saying, saving your money, educating yourself. That's what you can do if you want to start a business. But if you're saying that you need to hit rock bottom before you actually can follow your dream, then that's an excuse, and that's not what you want to be using that for, you know?
Yeah, so also, I want to kind of add in that a way of success is like surrounding yourself with positive influences and surrounding yourself with only things that can make you grow. And obviously you're not going to be able to control that at every point in your life, but you need to focus on the controllables in that matter. So what you need to do is kind of ask yourself, who do you surround yourself with?
That's huge. Honestly, that is huge, because people you surround yourself with are going to rub off on you. And like they say in the book, if the people in your circle watch 15 hours of TV a week, chances are you do that too. If they read no books, chances are you don't read any books. So, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much just cut everybody off. Everyone in your life.
Go off the grid. Off the grid. Off
All right,
the top.
so anyway, so what you want to do is just ask yourself, how much are they helping your life? Like, honestly, like, you really need to consider that. That's super serious. You need to consider how much your friends and family are what is it
how
called?
much they're impacting your life. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. What is
I
the
know what
C
you mean.
word?
For what?
Yeah. Complimenting your life.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good job.
um,
You really need to evaluate how every single person in your life is actually individually impacting your life. And it doesn't always matter. Like, Brandon was telling me about this before I started getting any of this, and before I started reading this book. Brandon was telling me that just because people love you and that they support you and everything, that doesn't always mean that they're the best people you should have in your circle. You know, you want people that have their own dreams and they're doing what is good for themselves, because people that follow their dreams and they're successful and they're passionate about something, they're going to rub off on you and you are going to learn from them. You don't want friends that are just going to sit there and boost you up and be yes men, or people that, especially, you don't want people that are negatively impacting your life. That is just something you need to cut off. So, like, I could cut off Brandon right now and have no regrets at all. But what I'm saying, though, is that you could...
hang on. I just want to say that I got him into Burn Your Goals, so, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, now that we said that, I just want to say, too, that it's super important that you evaluate who's in your circle and that you have people that have their own passions and own dreams, because not only does that motivate you, that will help you get on track for your life, because they're going to be rubbing off on you.
Yeah, it'll help you figure out who you are and who you want to be. So, also something that you need to consider is, will it even be a blip on the radar? Will it even matter in your life? Seriously, most of the stuff that we take into account is like literally not worth anything to us at all.
One thing that I think is really awesome to think about is, if you're ever super anxious about something, like a job interview, especially, because even recently I've gone through this where I was really anxious about a job interview. But
by the way, got him a job with me. Yep.
Let's go, baby.
You're welcome.
Okay. Listen, but pretty much think about this. I was thinking about this after, because I didn't actually get to that chapter yet. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I was so anxious about that. But then I think about it, and 5 years down the road, am I ever going to think about that? Is that really going to be something that's so important to me that I should have been so worked up about? And that's something, if you think about that when you're feeling anxiety like that, or when you're super nervous and you feel like you can't go into a business meeting or anything, that's literally, think about 5 years down the road, not important. One awesome thing that they said in the book is that they asked high school players and college players, how important to you now was your middle school basketball tournaments or something like that? Like, that's so unimportant to you that you probably won't even remember what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, just think about that time in high school when you're doing that presentation on whatever, like through like a PowerPoint or a speech or whatever, and how nervous you were, and like now, like, it's not even important to your life one bit, not at all.
Which is also majority of things that you think about that stress you out in the moment, nowhere near as important as you actually think they are. And even the one thing that I think is awesome about this book is that if you should have two modes of thinking when you go into something like that, is if something's gonna have if it's actually gonna have a significant impact on the next 5 years of your life, and you don't want to mess it up, you need to calm yourself down. First off, they talk about breathing exercises in the book for a little bit.
Lamaze breathing.
Yeah, and think about how that is gonna affect you. If it is something that's significantly going to affect your life, you don't want to end up being super stressed out and end up ruining it because of that. You need to just embrace that. It's important, and even if you mess up, you need to give your very best and do your Lamaze breathing to calm down your heart rate. And it's just so important that they talk about some principles you should have in life, and we can even talk about principles after this if you want. They say follow principles instead of just following your feelings.
Yeah. So that's really, really important.
But before that, though, the principle I was going to talk about is that you should every single day give your very, very best. And if you practice that, when that situation arises, when that you need to be focused and you need to give your best, it's going to be so much easier. Think about that.
Yeah, so just give yourself daily reminders to do your very, very best and love everyone the very, very most you possibly can. And it's so important.
Be unconditionally grateful, too, which I think is extremely important. That a lot of people, including myself especially, have taken for granted everything that we have in life, especially we live in a first world country. Just think about how much we have. That one thing they talk about is think about how much you have and think about how many people every single day would literally do anything for the opportunities that you take for granted, for education, anything like that. You have so many opportunities daily that you take for granted, and everyone's guilty of this. This isn't something that I'm not trying to chastise people for this, but I'm saying if you need to realize that people have had less than you and done more, and people have more than you often do less because they take that for granted.
So what you got to think from now on is not, do I want to do this? Think, what is the best thing to do here for me? It's very, very important to do that.
And even going for those principles, how can I improve from this? How can I make myself a better person? How can I follow my dream from this? So, Brandon, you want to talk about principles and talk about how we're going to branch off and talk about how a negative thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to live your life by your feelings. You want to live to your principles, and go and talk about that.
Yeah, so in a previous podcast, in actually our first podcast, I talked about how your feelings can lead to your actions, and your actions can lead to who you are, your identity. Mm-hmm. So what you actually want to do is you want to come in with your identity already chosen for you, and that will lead to your actions, and then your actions will impact your feelings.
Yeah, and if you follow these principles every single day, and it doesn't have to be one thing that me and Brandon were even talking about is that you don't have to follow a principle so strictly that you don't have any sense of humor, you don't have any fun in your life, but those are principles that will make your life so much better. And one thing I want to talk about is happiness versus fulfillment. So I was actually just reading this chapter today, is that happiness in general is that, okay, so in the book they asked a lot of people saying, what do you want for your life? And most people say, I want to be happy. Including myself, before, not even too long ago, I would have said this answer too, because why would you not want to be happy? But if you think about it, there's such a vast difference between happiness and fulfillment, and oftentimes when you chase one, you completely neglect the other. It's a one-sided thing.
Well, don't mistake though. When you are fulfilled, there will be happiness there along with it. If you chase happiness though, you will not have fulfillment.
Yeah.
Well, you might have fulfillment, but it's a much less possibility.
Well, when we're defining happiness, though, happiness is typically a short-term thing. So some people, including myself, I'm guilty of this, wasting money on clothes and shoes just to be happy. That is such a short-term happiness that's pretty much the happiness that most people feel. Is happiness is a feeling that goes away after time. Fulfillment, when you're fulfilled and completely fulfilled with your entire life and you followed your dream. Well, first off, before even saying this, I just want to say that the road to fulfillment and road to happiness are so completely polar opposite. That if you want to be a fulfilled person and follow your dream, the road has so many challenges and there's so much hard work and dedication put in. And happiness, it's just short term. It's so easily attainable that's what most people go for in life, just short term happiness.
Yeah, what you need to do is you need to figure out who you want to be, and that will lead to what you want to do with your life. Personally, for me, I want to help people. Like, I feel like my life was made to help other people's attain their fulfillment and happiness.
Yeah, and I actually feel the same way. That Kevin Durant, they talk about in the book, instead of when he was asked about his nicknames and what his favorite nickname was, he says he prefers to be called the servant for his players, and which this honestly struck me as like really weird because Kevin Durant is obviously a stud basketball player, and it doesn't seem like he's a servant to anyone. But he says that his job is to go out there and not disappoint, and his job is to live up to expectations, and his job is to serve the needs of his team and always help in as many ways as possible, and put his best in every single day.
Yeah, and he does that by training. Literally every moment of his life is training, whether it be mental or physical. He's always in the gym 3 hours before practice, shooting, getting workouts in. And that's even before all the really tough workouts that the NBA brings to the table, being on an NBA team.
Yeah, and some things also is that they talk about in the book is that it's putting your best effort into something isn't showing up to practice ready, you're all good to go. Putting your best effort in isn't watching film. Putting your best effort in is you show up 2 hours early, you get warmed up, you do everything you possibly can just to try and improve yourself before giving 100% effort at practice. Putting effort in isn't just sitting and watching TV and watching a game or watching film. It's sitting down for 2 hours to watch your film, to take notes, and notice specific things that you can improve on in your game. And one thing they talk about basketball players is that instead of wasting your time, and everyone's guilty of this, on social media and taking pictures of, wow, look at this cool hat I got, look at this cool clothes I got, you could be using that camera to film yourself and improve your individual motions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can literally form your skill. Like, you can sharpen everything that you do by filming yourself and watching it back. But this also leads to something that I learned at Point Guard College, which I mentioned in our first podcast, that you need to be a student of the game, whatever your game is, whether it be your business or an actual sport. You need to be a student of the game. You need to be able to pick apart everything that someone does and find out how they did that, why they did that, and why it made them so much better.
And including yourself too. You need to pick apart what you did that you can improve on, what you did that you can do that you did bad, and something individual things and flaws that you can improve on every single day and work at. Pick things you did good and try and continue doing those. It shouldn't always just be negatively looking at yourself, but being a student of the game it's a really good idea and a good point there, Brandon.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, be a student of the game, never a fan of the game. A fan will watch like the dunks of the NBA and just go crazy for all that stuff, but a student of the game we'll watch the little things like the pump fakes in basketball, or like the little just eye fakes, like looking the other way and going one way. It's crazy, just the little details that you can pick up on your own game and formulate your skill, sharpen your skill according to those ideas.
Yeah. So you know what? I think this was a really good podcast, and I think that we covered everything we should have covered, and we would love to hear you guys' feedback, and we really hope we help some of you guys out with this. I think this is also some really important information we're relaying. So thank you everyone for listening so much, and
Please, if you have anything that you want us to help you with personally, just contact us through the comments or through our Twitter, which is Off the Top Podcast, or our handle is at Off the Top 7, and just feel free to anytime. We'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yep, we really want your guys' feedback because this is our first time doing something like this. We would really love it. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope to see you next episode. Peace
All right,
out.
peace.